The house is almost 150 years old, but we pretty much gutted it.
Hey guys, it is Shelby and Michelle with Farmhouse Living, and welcome back to our channel. We have an amazing home tour with Angie of my McKinney farmhouse, and I don't even know how. I feel like I just stepped into a real magazine. Like, yes. I feel at home too. So it's like really amazing design, but I also feel super cozy.
Yeah,
so,
very comfortable. That's the greatest compliment, actually. That's what I was striving for. So.
Well, you did it.
Thank you.
So will you tell us how long you've lived here, kind of what you think your style is? And
I'm not sure what my style is, but we've lived here about 7.5 years. The house is almost 150 years old, but we pretty much gutted it, took it down to the sheetrock and bare bones, and just kind of redid everything. So we took down a lot of walls, we opened up the spaces. And it was actually two houses that they kind of put together. There was a house here built in the 1880s, and then they moved in another little farmhouse from up north of McKinney and sort of attached it. So when we moved in, it was very like doorways everywhere.
Choppy.
Yeah. It was charming in its own way, but we wanted to just kind of open it up and make more sense. Yes.
So how many square feet is this?
Oh, don't ask me that question.
You don't know?
I'm so bad with numbers.
Because it is all open now, and it does feel, you said it's small, but it feels very large to me. And one room to the other, though, is so dedicated and defined. I mean, I would say this is probably one of my, if not favorite of all homes we've ever walked into. I'm not kidding.
Thank you.
I mean, it's very much my style. And you love to travel. And so is that where you take some of your inspiration?
Absolutely, especially the very first time I ever went to Paris. I was just blown away by the fact that there's all this historic architecture, like, from way before the United States even existed. And then they've also mixed in all of these new contemporary elements. And I was like, oh, okay, so the two really can live cohesively together. Yeah. And I like both styles. So it was just finding a way to make both styles work in one home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, when I look at your living room, I love that it is you have the vintage elements, but it does have this minimal, like, you have stuff, but just very perfectly placed. Were you intentionally doing that?
Absolutely. So our previous home we were in for 10 years, and I collected everything. I had mercury glass, I had transferware, toll trays. There wasn't a vintage thing that I did not collect. And the house was just cram-packed with it. It was still beautiful, but very different. And I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it totally changed my life. I just started thinking, okay, if I don't make it, what on earth are Mike and the girls gonna do with all this stuff? So I pretty much sold everything and just kind of started over. And now I still wanted it to have the same feel, but I didn't want to have things in the house that didn't really serve a purpose. Yeah. So I just tried to find, really cool light fixtures, like things that you have to have anyway, just make them really cool and not have a lot of extra. Books is the one thing I still hoard. I'm kind of crazy about.
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like it's got the perfect amount of white space, and then when you do it, it's all in, like fully committed. So clearly you're a reader.
Absolutely. I don't watch TV. There's not a TV in this room.
Okay.
We have one in my husband's office. He watches golf a lot. I'd rather watch paint dry than watch golf. But, so yeah, I read a lot, especially in the evenings.
Yeah. And this is, so your library is in your dining space.
Yes.
Breakfast, it's all one. You only have one dining area,
Correct,
right?
yes.
I love it. And I want to talk about these light fixtures because I've never seen anything like this before.
Okay.
It's so thoughtful, but also
wow.
Yeah.
It has such impact. I've seen it with basket lights, woven lights, but the marble is stunning.
Is it marble?
Thank you. It is a type of quartz, I believe, and they are super heavy, but yes, they were actually carved out of rock, which is just amazing to me. And I like the way the light kind of comes through the stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're warm and earthy.
And they're very, very heavy.
Yeah. I was going to say, I bet they were hard to hang.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, and that's something that the style when I said, this is my style. My home is totally different. This is my dream style, I should say, because you have so many earthy elements because you have the wood, you have almost like a stucco feel on the wall, so much texture with the ceiling. Yeah. And it's just, it's stunning. It's incredible. There are no words.
Well, thank you so much. It's nice to have people that really appreciate it.
Yeah. I love the simpler, more natural life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Do you know your paint color on your wall?
I have it written down somewhere.
Okay.
We pretty much mixed custom paints for everything because
Okay.
the light, there's so many windows in the house, so the light is different in every room.
Yeah.
So we really had to work on that a lot.
Yeah. And then I love your glass feature here because
Thank you.
You do your spaces open, but like we said before, very dedicated. I feel like that does give you that like divide between the kitchen, the dining, the entertaining space. Had you seen that before? Did you have inspiration for that?
No. So what happened was originally I had a rectangular dining table that we were going to use. It was an antique French table, and I loved it. I was worried about having the rectangular island and then the rectangular dining table. It was just going to look like two big similar pieces of furniture. So I was like, okay, how do we kind of divide the room but not close it off? I knew I wanted something with that feel where the light goes through, where you can see into the next room. And I was just shopping one day in Dallas, Mary Kate's Antiques and Design, and she had it in there, and I knew that was perfect. And then we just had a welder create the base and the top, and
It looks like it all was.
yes.
Like
So-
it's always been.
It actually is a very big design feature now. People are doing it everywhere.
Really?
So
Okay.
you were before your time.
Oh, maybe
because
so.
I'm seeing this in the black frame glass.
More modern.
More
Yes.
modern, but I'm seeing this room divider all over now.
Really?
But
Interesting.
You have definitely upped it with the rusty.
yeah, so
Just
this is
old world.
actually from an old factory in France that they took apart, and Mary Kate, I think, bought 2 or 3 of them. I bought one, but yeah, it's very old. And now I know they're kind of replicating the old factory windows, and everyone's putting them in their homes, and
Yes.
Trying to get the old look, but with the new. Okay, and so right here, I also want to mention your stairs while we're in this.
Okay.
That, all the pictures and frames on your wall, how long did that take you to hang that?
a long time. I would say I pretty much only worked on it in the evenings, and I bet it took 6 weeks maybe of just, No.
That's a lot there.
It felt like a very long time when I was doing it, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, and it's very, very, like it looks like you were very intentional with it. And so I love that is your welcome in with the staircase. So I love
Thank
that.
you.
Are you ready to go to the kitchen? I feel like you're
I want to live in the kitchen.
Okay, well, let's
right.
go live there. Okay, so we're in the kitchen, and before we even pressed record, we were just going on and on and on about how we've never seen a kitchen like this before. So I really want to know your creative process of designing this so that everyone else could do it.
Oh, I wish that I could really explain it. I don't know. I knew because the backyard is phenomenal. That tree in the center is really the reason I wanted this house to begin with. And I wanted to be able to see that as much as I could. So I knew I wanted to open up that whole wall just for the view outside. So that's when you have to get really creative with storage solutions, which this piece came in very handy because it has great big deep drawers.
Okay.
And I think it all came in. It just came together with, I knew I wanted that particular tile, the handmade tile. I love the way the light hits it, and the beams, and it just came together really organically, one thing at a time. I loved the open shelving, and it was just kind of pieced it together one thing at a time.
Well, I love that all your storage is open. I know that a lot of people might say that's not functional, but just experiencing open shelving, for me, it holds me accountable, number 1, to stay clean, number 2, to only buy stuff I like, and number 3, to appreciate what I have and not feel like it's just the plate. No, I get the plates I like.
Exactly. And you just have to learn how to use. Back in the day before there was Tupperware, this is what people use. So you just have to kind of learn to live differently. We do have a few things in drawers and in the pantry, but for the most part, this is everything we use.
That's so good.
So this big chalkboard, do you change it or you?
The plan was when we first put it in to change it. Like I was thinking a few times a year we'd change it. My friend Casey, who we were just discussing, she's an artist and she came in and did the whole thing for me, and it's still there 7.5 years later. I've never changed it.
Oh, what I love too, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. That is so
good.
true. Great Jimi Hendrix
Yes.
quote. But also this knife thing going on. I mean, how cool is that?
Well, it was kind of lost on me, the irony or the juxtaposition, until one day I was standing over there and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, we're talking about peace and, and then there's a whole lot of knives. Like, but yes, this is
neat.
knife storage.
I did not think about it at all. I was just like, dang, that's really nice that everything's on display. I was appreciating that.
Oh, thank you.
But you got more books. I love that it's kind of like a play on like your reading books and then your cookbooks, which is very cool.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell them, where did you say the island was from again?
So some friends of mine that are antique dealers, they were on a buying trip to England and they found it outside of a barn in the English countryside, and it was just covered with junk, and they bought it and cleaned it up, and I knew the first time I saw it, I knew it was my kitchen island.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and your range, that's heavenly. Like,
thank you.
What is that?
French, of course.
It's so awesome.
Thank you.
So yeah, you have concrete countertops, and just the star of the show is just this massive hood and this incredible beam across the entire back wall. And so when you walk in to your home, I mean, and you see the kitchen, that's what you take in first. And I'm just in awe of that. This feels European or something from a farm in the countryside.
Well, thank you. That's kind of what I was going for.
Yeah. So your travels have really inspired you, I think, with a lot of your design elements, because
Absolutely.
I feel like I've stepped also not only into a really comfy home, but maybe into another country.
Yeah.
So
If only travel were that easy.
Right? It's a little time machine.
Yeah.
I do feel like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we ready to go to your bedroom?
Sure.
Okay, so we are in your primary bedroom, and I don't even know how to describe it, because you have that vintage feel, but then it's minimal, which makes it kind of modern, and the high ceilings and So tell us about your design process here, if you have any, other than just being amazingly creative.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, our previous bedroom was like over the top Victorian antiques, fluff, very feminine, romantic room. And I just wanted to go in an opposite direction. I wanted to be very minimal, but still feel very, serene and relaxing and calming, kind of like being at a spa or something. So I just got rid of most of the furniture and just kind of went with natural colors and
It's amazing. And then this wall, you have done a stencil, and it's very muted. So when you walk in, you would miss it, except it's the entire wall.
It is the entire wall, yes. And I love this prayer. It's the prayer of St. Francis. And I've thought that's what I want to be the first thing I see every morning when I open my eyes. Well, I kind of forgot that I wear contacts and I can't see anything first thing in the morning. So after I get my contacts in, then I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's great. And you also have a scripture from Galatians, a smaller one above your table.
Yes,
The same look.
And a lot of people will walk through the room and not even notice that, and that's fine too. But I like that it's subtle, but it's there.
It's wonderful.
It's a good reminder, but it's not, because sometimes those type of details can like overtake it, but it's just like in the background and really sweet.
Beautiful.
Okay, and I love the dream in
Thank
the
you.
metal.
It's like, I didn't want a lot of stuff, but I still, you still want creativity. And so that was just like found that in New York at ABC Carpet. I think a lot of people make them now though.
Oh, yeah.
And then your chandelier, is that, I know.
Look at it.
It's amazing.
It was vintage, or it is
It
vintage?
is vintage, and it's like I love crystal chandeliers, but if they're new and they can be a little kind of
Gaudy.
Yeah. So I was like, I wanted to look for one that was just really crusty, rusty, and I just like that whole juxtaposition of really ornate, but it's it's been around a while.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So one thing I'm really appreciating in view of your bathroom is the ceiling height and the fact that you went all the way up with the tile. That is
Oh, yes.
amazing. And I feel like that makes it a huge feature. Had you seen that before or you just decided?
I just couldn't figure out where to stop. I guess I could have just stopped at the top of the wall. It was kind of just an accidental thing, and I think we had enough tile. We had
You just
more
kept
than we,
going.
so just why not?
Yeah,
you
I
go.
love it. And then you have your concrete sinks and
Yes.
were those made, you had those made?
Yes, they made them in the backyard. Actually, just built a mold and poured the concrete in, and yeah.
Oh, wow.
Same with the countertops in the kitchen. They made molds and poured the concrete, and that was it.
You have told us about your floors. The floor in the bathroom is a smaller than the floor here, and you've taken and just made them all cohesive with one color. But the floors came from where?
Well, they came from a house that used to be next door that we had purchased and we were going to remodel, and it had to come down. Unfortunately, it ended up being in way too bad a shape to save. But in the meantime, we had taken a lot of wood out of that house and we used it in this house.
So cool.
Yeah.
So I want to just touch real quick your bathroom storage since you don't have vanities. Similar to the kitchen, you're just like embracing minimal.
Exactly. I don't have nearly the number of products that I probably would have had otherwise.
Yeah.
We do have that one little antique cabinet in there and it is crammed full. But yeah,
That's so
I just wanted, you know, you have to really want the minimal look in order to make
Yeah.
it work.
Yes.
And medicine cabinets are savers. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Oh, yeah.
savers for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it adds character because it's, you know,
Yeah.
new and different or, you know, vintage and
Yeah.
different. Okay, well,
And then you have doors. The doors. We have to talk about all your doors. Where do you find things? Where is your
Well, I go to
to?
Round Top twice a year, and I've been
Okay.
doing that for like 16 years. Also, downtown McKinney, which is just 2 blocks away,
Yes.
has many great antique stores.
Yes.
Other than those two things, it's just whenever I travel, I go into places. But most of the doors either came from Round Top or, well, they originally came from France or England for the most part. And then we
Right.
just had the glass replaced in them to be opaque for privacy.
yeah.
Very cool. Well, I love it. I love everything about it. Can you come to my house and help me? 'Cause
Yeah.
This is where I want to live.
I want to go treasure hunting now. And I want to stencil something on the wall
Oh, for sure.
somewhere.
Somewhere.
There's so many great quotes or sayings, and it's
Yes.
just cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, so do you tell them where to follow you on Instagram? You share your travels, you share some home,
Yes.
you share books. I know you
Oh,
love to
yes,
read.
yes.
So,
Just kind of whatever I'm up to. It's my McKinney Farmhouse.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you will not want to miss her just, you know, daily. Yeah, I think you inspire me. Like, you were just sharing coffee. I was like, everything you share is so romantic. Like, it just makes me want to, like, enjoy my life. you know?
That's why, it can be short. We never know. So enjoy
Yes.
it every day for sure.
Yeah, well, you're
Yes.
definitely, that's the inspiration that you're giving me for sure.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for having us. We have loved every moment. There's more to the house, so you said we could come back.
Yes.
And maybe do the exterior and 'cause
Exterior
it's
and the
beautiful.
secondary spaces.
Yes, that'd be so fun. Thank you again for having us.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
just thankful that y'all appreciate it. It was
We
lovely.
do.
Okay, so we're gonna have more tours in the cards right here. I'll do a whole playlist. We will also have a blog post where you can see the photos. So if you really like to absorb in still images, that is there too. Make sure you follow Angie. Mom, close this out.
All right, like, subscribe, share this with your friends. Don't share the part about Round Top. We have too many people going now.
Yeah.
But it was great having this time together, and we hope you'll join us again for the
Yeah.
next home tour.
Bye.
Bye.